Returning until probably later on, I'd say about 10 days, looking like January 22nd into January 23rd. We're at 53 degrees right now here in the Denver metro area. Your headlines, gradual clearing, so a little bit more sunshine as we head into the afternoon. It's going to be warm and windy for tomorrow. The winds certainly the big story for tomorrow, as we do have some fire danger to talk about, high wind watches to talk about, fire watches, red flag warnings as well. We're going to get into that a little bit more in detail here shortly. We're also tracking some Arctic air dropping down from the north, and that is going to bring us some cooler temperatures on Friday. Satellite radar, not too much happening. We did see some light flurries over the mountains and the plains earlier today. Those flurries have really just dried out as the system pushes off to the east. So we are clearing out, and we'll see mostly clear skies by tonight, waking up to clear skies tomorrow as well. So plenty of sunshine. Temperatures are well above normal as well. So those current temperatures, we're at 53 degrees outside the 9 News studio, still at 52 degrees at DIA, 58 in Greeley, warmer up north as well. In Fort Collins, 57 degrees. Temperatures in the basically mainly in the 50s across the plains, although Colorado Springs very slow to warm up in the valley there, 41 degrees, 30s and 40s in the mountains. Your forecast for the Denver area today, decreasing clouds throughout the afternoon, 56 degrees. Your forecast high well above the average high of 45 degrees, but certainly cooler than it was yesterday. We're going to kind of feel some cold air, the impacts of that cold air this weekend from that kind of a pretty amplified trough, or pretty deep, I guess we should say, trough of low pressure that will be opening the door for some very cold air to move in. We're kind of going to go through that with our cold air tracker here in a second. Let's talk about those temperatures today, mainly in the 50s for highs across the plains, upper 20s, 30s, low 40s in the mountains. But I talked about the winds, always an issue, always a concern when we get these dry conditions, not a lot of soil moisture, even though the soil moisture is holding steady in some areas. Not as major of a concern as one would think, but again, anytime you get winds with low relative humidity, which is what we're going to see tomorrow, that relative humidity dropping down in the teens, that's when the concern for a fast-moving wildfire certainly peaks. Here's a look at our wind gust forecast as we head through the day today. So those winds, again, up in the foothills, gusting 40+ miles per hour. Not too bad down around the metro area, the I-25 corridor. As we head into tomorrow, this is where you can see that change. Look at that bright yellow pretty much all across the map. So those winds picking up, not just in the foothills, not just along the I-25 corridor or the eastern plains, but all across. We're seeing those winds really pick up, kind of a northwesterly flow. So those westerly winds coming down off the mountain. As they do that, they continue to dry out the lower levels of the atmosphere. So we have that dryness going on, and we have those winds picking up. Again, the fire danger is going to increase. We're looking at close to 30-mile-per-hour winds in Denver, Brighton, Fort Morgan. This is 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. 30+ mile-per-hour winds in Boulder. It's going to subside a little bit tomorrow night, but then Friday, round 2 of those very strong winds. This is 1 o'clock on Friday. Check out those northerly winds. Fort Morgan, 43-mile-per-hour wind gusts forecast, close to 40 in Byers as well. 60+ in the foothills, and again out across the north of the metro area and the east for Friday. It is going to be just wickedly windy. So we do have some warnings to talk about, fire weather warnings, fire weather watch. And that area you see there in tan, so basically north of Denver along the I-25 corridor and east across the adjacent plains under a fire weather watch for tomorrow. And then you have that red flag warning, very high fire danger in that bright pink. That starts tomorrow and goes right on through Friday morning for those gusts up to 60 miles per hour. We saw those gusts 40, easily 50 miles per hour, and humidity as low as 14%. So setting us up for some very dangerous situations. If there were to be a spark, it would spread into a potentially destructive wildfire fairly quickly. Here's a look at our weather pattern. We have an amplified ridge off to our west. We have this deep trough of low pressure off to our east. And we're kind of caught in between. That's where you get those tight pressure gradients, and that's when you get those winds really picking up, which is what we're going to see tomorrow into Friday. But check out Friday as that trough kind of builds. We get a little secondary leg of that trough dropping down over the Great Lakes, and we are going to feel the impacts of that here in Colorado with kind of a surge of colder air coming in from the east. Here's a look at our cold air tracker as we head Friday into Saturday. And you can see there it is, kind of just nudges off to the west a little bit. How far it nudges depends on just how cold it will get. At this point, we're dropping the temperatures as we forecast yesterday a few degrees as we get a little bit of that cold air moving in from the east. So for your Broncos game day forecast, winds out of the north-northwest 15 to 25 miles per hour. So just a little breezy. Temperatures a little bit cooler than we initially thought, but still actually pretty normal for this time of the year. So this is a typical Saturday weather pattern for Colorado for January. 45 degrees at kickoff, halftime 43, your final whistle 38 degrees, and again just a light breeze that we're going to be dealing with across the metro area. Taking a look at our 7-day forecast. So today, decrease in clouds. Tomorrow, windy. Say sunny and breezy, but again, it's going to be downright windy in some of those places with those winds gusting 40 plus miles per hour. 62 though, warmer. And then on Friday, we have that start of that cold front moving through. That's going to drop those temperatures with highs in the mid 40s. We're looking at mid to upper 40s on Saturday as well, still feeling the impacts of that cold air moving in from the east. That moves out. We've got lots of sunshine that's going to warm us back up into the mid 50s. So again, about 10 degrees above normal on Sunday. Monday, we have another front moving through. That's going to drop those temperatures again just a few degrees, still above normal. 50 degrees, our forecast high, overnight lows in the 20s, 59 on Tuesday. And I do want to point out our 7-day forecast certainly doesn't go this far out, but we are tracking Thursday into Friday of next week, the potential for the next round of snow. Again, it's a ways out. Tough to forecast just how much snow we'll get and exactly where, but it is looking like we will see some snow at the end of next week, which is always great here, does give us some hope. It would be likely the last snowstorm of the month of January for Colorado. So again, we are looking closely at that and hopeful as it moves closer that will produce some measurable and some meaningful, I guess, and significant snowfall for Colorado, which would be certainly much needed. But anyway, that is a quick look at your forecast on this Wednesday. We'll keep you posted on the colder air and again, certainly on that snowstorm moving in for next week. Thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Plus. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team Meteorologist Keely Chalmers. Have a great day.